You've always heard that lentils are among the healthiest foods in the world, right? Packed with protein, iron, and fiber, they've earned a reputation as a superfood and made it onto diet lists for heart health, cholesterol, and even longevity. But what if I told you this reputation can hide dangerous pitfalls, especially for those over 60? Well, yes. The same food that promises energy and vitality can, when consumed incorrectly, be silently sabotaging your digestion, mineral balance, and even your natural defenses. That's no exaggeration. It's pure biochemistry. And understanding this can be the difference between aging gracefully or aging with chronic fatigue that undermines your quality of life daily. The problem is that many people confuse natural with harmless. And therein lies the risk. Lentils, like other grains, carry compounds that need to be neutralized before reaching the plate. Otherwise, what should nourish inflames. What should strengthen weakens. But no one talks about this, mainly because it's easier to sell the myth of a miracle food than to explain its details. But your body doesn't accept myths. It responds to the real chemistry of each spoonful. And with age, these responses become more sensitive, slower, and any excess or improper preparation takes a much greater toll than before, accumulating damage that gradually manifests itself. Imagine a person who eats lentils almost every day, believing they're doing the best for their heart. They don't feel anything for the first few weeks, maybe not even the first few months. But over time, they begin to experience heavy digestion, persistent gas, and a strange tiredness after meals. And what seems like just aging is actually the result of a cumulative imbalance. The body tries to warn us, but most ignore the signs until their health calls for help. What you're about to discover now isn't meant to scare you, but to protect you. Because there are 7 very common mistakes that turn a powerful food into an enemy in disguise, stealing energy and vitality without you even realizing it. These mistakes aren't in the lentils themselves, but in the way we treat them, how we cook, combine, store, and even believe in them. It's a set of habits so simple they seem harmless, but when added together, they slowly weaken your natural defenses, the ones your body uses every day to protect you against inflammation, viruses, bacteria, and premature aging. Knowing what to avoid is the first step to regaining control over your own vitality. Because aging well isn't a matter of luck, it's a matter of applied knowledge that transforms information into habit, and habit into lasting health. And that's the purpose of this video, to show you clearly, scientifically, and practically how to correct these mistakes and regain the strength your body already possesses. You just need to understand how to use it to your advantage. So, if you believe that quality information is the true medicine for longevity, subscribe to the channel now. Here, every week, we translate science into real health, so you can live longer, better, and with full awareness of every choice you make, strengthening your body and mind simultaneously. The first mistake starts long before you even sit down at the table. It's in the way lentils are prepared, or rather, the way they're often not. Many people believe that simply cooking lentils for a few minutes is enough to create a healthy dish. But within these tiny grains lurk substances that, when not treated properly, can irritate the intestines, block mineral absorption, and generate silent inflammation. These are called lectins and phytates, natural plant defense compounds that act as saboteurs within our bodies. In young adults, the body generally handles small amounts well. But after 60, when digestion slows and the intestinal mucosa becomes more sensitive, the impact is much greater and longer lasting. Lectins, for example, are proteins that bind to the intestinal walls, hindering nutrient absorption and causing microirritations that build up. Phytates, on the other hand, bind to iron, zinc, and calcium, preventing these minerals from reaching the blood. The result? Chronic fatigue, brittle nails, weakened bones, and low immunity. This is why many people, even when eating properly, continue to feel weak and lacking energy. They're feeding their bodies without allowing them to truly nourish themselves. Interestingly, this problem has a simple, yet often overlooked, solution: prolonged soaking in water. Soaking lentils for at least 8 hours, changing the water at least once, drastically reduces these anti-nutrients. It's an ancient process, used by people who already knew, intuitively, that water soothed food. Cooking them thoroughly, until the grain is tender and no longer tastes raw, is another essential step. Heat and time break down lectins and make the proteins more gut-friendly.
Skipping these steps may seem like a matter of practicality, but in reality, it's a biochemical error that accumulates. It's as if you're feeding your body small daily doses of irritation that, over time, turn into chronic problems. And this is where many people go wrong. They believe that if a food is plant-based, it's automatically safe. However, even the best medicines can become poison when used incorrectly. Lentils aren't the problem. The problem is careless preparation. When you give them the right time and care, you can transform an inflammatory grain into a powerful source of protein and fiber. But that's just the first mistake. Because even after preparing them correctly, many people make mistakes when pairing them. A simple side dish can negate the benefits and even worsen blood sugar levels, especially for those with prediabetes or insulin resistance. This is where the second mistake begins, and it's on the plate next to yours. The second mistake is the wrong combination. Lentils on their own are excellent health allies, but when combined with certain foods, what was once a balanced meal becomes an overload. This is typical when a seemingly perfect dish, rice with lentils for example, turns out to be a nightmare for the metabolism of those over 60. The reason? The aging body doesn't respond to glucose the same way it used to. And when we combine lentils, which contain natural starch, with refined carbohydrates like white rice, bread, pasta, or potatoes, we create a silent glycemic bomb. This combination rapidly raises blood sugar and forces the pancreas to produce more insulin. The problem is that, over time, this fluctuation becomes toxic, accelerating cellular aging and inflaming the body from the inside out. Think of your body's energy like a bonfire. When you feed it with thick, slow-burning fuel like protein, good fats, and fiber, the fire stays steady, warming you all day. But if you add too much fuel, like simple sugars and fast-acting starches, the fire flares up, glows for a moment, and then dies, leaving ash and fatigue. This is exactly what happens when a dish combines lentils with simple carbohydrates. The energy spike comes quickly, but the decline is inevitable. And the body, already with slower metabolism, takes longer to recover. The result is that familiar cycle: constant hunger, drowsiness after meals, and a bloated feeling that bothers you for hours. There is, however, a golden secret for those who want to enjoy lentils without causing this internal chaos. Combine them with foods that balance the glycemic index. Instead of white rice, opt for steamed vegetables, leafy greens, or a generous drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Add a little turmeric, ginger, or black pepper, and you transform the meal into a natural anti-inflammatory. Good fats slow glucose absorption, and antioxidant compounds help the liver better process nutrients. It's science translated into practice. The body ages better when it receives stable, clean energy, not uncontrolled spikes that wear down vital organs. But there's one detail that almost no one notices. Even if the preparation and combinations are correct, lentils can still lose their value before they reach your plate. And this happens not because of a kitchen error, but because of something much simpler: the way they're stored. Careless storage can turn a vibrant food into a reservoir of invisible toxins. This is the third mistake, and perhaps one of the most underestimated, because it starts in your own cupboard, right under your nose. The third mistake lurks in the kitchen cupboard, silent and almost unnoticeable. Many people buy lentils in bulk, store them in open containers, or leave the packaging forgotten for months, thinking that dried grains never spoil. But the truth is that time and air oxidize nutrients, alter the structure of proteins, and encourage the growth of microscopic fungi. And when these fungi appear, even in invisible quantities, they produce mycotoxins that overload the liver, the organ responsible for filtering everything we eat. For those over 60, with slower metabolism and an immune system demanding more energy, this can be a serious problem. Old lentils lose their vibrant color and natural aroma, and along with them, they also lose the vitality that should nourish the body. A simple observation: when you open a package and smell a slightly rancid odor or notice broken, dusty grains, that food is already biologically exhausted. Even if it doesn't cause immediate poisoning, it overloads the body. The body needs to expend extra energy to eliminate waste, which reduces the energy available for other functions and weakens natural defenses. It's a type of invisible wear and tear that accumulates over time. Therefore, the rule is clear: lentils should be stored in airtight glass jars, away from light and moisture, preferably in a cool place.
Don't leave them exposed to the heat of the stove or the humidity of the sink, two environments that accelerate spoilage and favor contamination. Another important detail is shelf life. Lentils stored for more than a year lose some of their enzymes and become more difficult to digest, even after cooking. Interestingly, people often buy fresh lentils but store them for months, believing they're getting organized. What was once planning becomes nutritional loss. This also applies to those who buy in large quantities. It's better to buy less and replenish your supply frequently than to store too much and eat stale grains. After all, food is living energy, and energy needs movement, not stagnation on dusty shelves. But there's an even more subtle danger. Even when lentils are perfect, the way you cook them can turn a healthy dish into a source of invisible heavy metals. This happens when the wrong pans are used repeatedly. Old, scratched, or cheap aluminum pans can release toxic residues during cooking, silently contaminating the food. And, ironically, this type of mistake is common precisely in homes that value healthy eating. The next mistake is perhaps the most insidious of all, because it comes disguised as tradition and practicality, but carries serious health consequences. The fourth mistake concerns the most used kitchen utensil, the pan. Many people believe that simply cooking food makes it safe, but they forget to check how and where it's cooked. Old aluminum pans, scratched non-stick coatings, and low-quality utensils can release heavy metals such as aluminum, lead, and nickel directly into the food. And these metals don't easily leave the body. They accumulate, settling in the brain, bones, and liver, interfering with vital processes like cellular energy production and antioxidant defense. It's a slow, silent, and cumulative poison. And for those over 60, with more fragile intestinal barriers and a slower metabolism, this contamination is even more dangerous and difficult to reverse. You may never have thought about it, but every scratch on the surface of your pan is a gateway for the release of invisible residues. What appears to be mere cosmetic wear is actually a chemical problem. When hot food, rich in acids and minerals, comes into contact with this exposed metal, a reaction called leaching occurs. It's as if tiny particles break off and pass straight onto your plate. Lentils, by being cooked for long periods, end up absorbing more of these substances. And the body, over the years, pays the price in the form of inflammation, mental confusion, fatigue, and unexplained joint pain. Symptoms that many attribute to age, but which originate from something as simple as the choice of pan. Fortunately, the solution is practical and affordable. Stainless steel, cast iron, or ceramic pans are much safer options. They withstand high temperatures without releasing toxins and also help enrich food with beneficial minerals. An iron pan, for example, can naturally increase the iron content of a dish, which is excellent for combating anemia, common in the elderly. Stainless steel preserves its original flavor and lasts for decades. Just be careful, avoid metal utensils that scratch the surface and avoid washing with abrasive sponges. Treat your pan as a health tool, not just a kitchen utensil to be neglected. And there's an even more curious detail: the type of water used also plays a role. Water that's heavily chlorinated or contains excessive metals in the plumbing can react with the pot's material and increase contamination. A simple filter already reduces this risk. It may seem exaggerated, but when we add these small factors together over the years, the impact is real. After all, aging doesn't happen all at once. It's built day after day by repeated choices, small decisions that accumulate and define your future vitality. But the body is wise and always tries to warn you. When something isn't right, signs appear, especially in the intestines. Gas, bloating, heavy digestion, and even mood swings can be linked not only to what you eat, but to how your digestive system responds. And that's precisely where the next mistake lies: the digestive error, the one that begins within you, in the organ that decides whether food will be medicine or poison for your body. The fifth mistake is digestive, and perhaps the most insidious of all, because it's not in the food itself, but within the body itself. As we age, the production of digestive enzymes decreases, intestinal transit slows, and the balance of the microbiota changes. This means that what was once easily digested can now cause fermentation, gas, discomfort, and even intestinal inflammation. Lentils, rich in fiber and oligosaccharides, a type of carbohydrate that feeds intestinal bacteria, end up being a real test for the digestive system. When the gut is balanced, great. But when there's dysbiosis and imbalance between good and bad bacteria, what should be nourishing begins to generate excess gas, cramps, and a feeling of heaviness that persists for hours. It's common to hear people say they've always eaten lentils and suddenly they start causing discomfort. This doesn't mean the food has gotten worse, it means the body has changed. And the mistake lies in ignoring these signs. An irritable bowel is like a house under renovation. Nothing works properly until the structure stabilizes. Local inflammation interferes with nutrient absorption, harms mood, sleep, and even immunity. After all, 70% of immune cells live there, in the intestinal wall. Taking care of the gut means taking care of the body's natural defenses. And what many people don't know is that there are simple ways to make lentils more digestive-friendly, reducing discomfort and enhancing benefits. An ancient trick used in various cultures is to add a small piece of kombu seaweed during cooking. It helps break down fermentable sugars and softens the impact of fiber. Another secret is to use digestive herbs like bay leaf, cumin, ginger, or fennel. Besides adding flavor, these herbs stimulate enzymes and prevent gas. Most importantly, chew thoroughly. Digestion begins in the mouth, and fast swallowers force the intestines to do the work themselves. Something as simple as eating slowly can prevent hours of discomfort later, as well as allowing the body to better absorb essential nutrients. When your gut functions well, your entire body appreciates it. Energy returns, your skin improves, and your sleep becomes more regulated. But when your gut is irritated, your entire body pays the price. It's like an army losing its front line, defenses weaken, and invasions occur. If lentils make you bloated, tired, or heavy, it may not be an allergy or intolerance. It could simply be your body's call for balance, asking for adjustments in how you prepare and consume food. By the way, while we're at it, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and how do you usually prepare your lentils at home? I love seeing how each region has its own culinary secrets and health tricks. This exchange between generations and cultures is what keeps food wisdom alive and strengthens our community that believes in aging with vitality and awareness. Your comment may inspire someone to change habits and transform their health. And since we're talking about an unprotected body, there's an even deeper flaw, one that doesn't begin in the gut, but in the cells that should protect you every day. It directly affects the immune system and saps energy from the inside out, weakening defenses that need to be strong. The sixth error is immunological, and occurs when what appears to be healthy begins to silently sabotage the body's natural defenses. Lentils are a source of iron, zinc, and vegetable protein, all essential nutrients for immunity. But when consumed in an unbalanced way, in excess, poorly prepared, or combined with other foods that hinder absorption, the effect can be the opposite of what's expected. The body begins to receive fewer minerals than it needs, and over time, its defense cells become sluggish, vulnerable, and less efficient. It's a typical case of doing everything right and still feeling tired, getting sick frequently, or having wounds that take a long time to heal, clear signs that something isn't working. The iron in lentils, for example, is called non-heme iron, which requires vitamin C to be absorbed. Without this combination, much of it is eliminated and used. That's why adding a little lemon, orange, or even red bell pepper to your meal can transform the same dish into a true immunity booster. However, too much lentils, especially when replacing lean meats, eggs, or fish, can reduce your intake of vitamin B12 and essential amino acids. And the human body, especially after 60, needs dietary diversity to keep white blood cells strong and alert, capable of fighting daily threats. Another important factor is chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that doesn't hurt but causes aging. When lentils are consumed undercooked or too frequently, they can increase this silent inflammation, interfering with the production of natural antioxidants. The result, the body loses its ability to repair minor injuries, the skin becomes more sensitive, and fatigue becomes constant. Small adjustments can change everything. A drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, turmeric, and garlic in the preparation strengthens the immune system and reduces this oxidative stress that erodes vitality. But perhaps the most important point is understanding balance. Eating lentils once or twice a week is beneficial. Making them a daily staple of your diet, without variety, is a mistake that will slowly sap your vitality. The immune system needs nutrients from different sources: vegetables, fruits, proteins, and good fats. When we restrict too much, even from good foods, the body interprets it as scarcity. And scarcity is synonymous with weakness, something we should avoid at all costs. Immunity is a direct reflection of internal balance. When food is consumed wisely, it strengthens; when idolized or misused, it drains energy. And this is the common thread of the next mistake: the habit of repeating too much, of eating the same dish day after day, believing you're on the right path. It's the error of routine, and it's as common as it is dangerous, because it erases the diversity that keeps the body alive and adaptable, capable of responding to challenges. The seventh mistake is routine, and it goes unnoticed precisely because it seems like a good choice. People who discover that lentils are healthy often decide to eat them every day. It's convenient, cheap, and seems safe. But the human body wasn't designed to live on repetition. It thrives on variety, on the little metabolic surprises that keep it awake and adaptable. When eating becomes predictable, the same groups of gut bacteria are stimulated repeatedly, and the rest of the microbiota begins to weaken. It's like a garden in which only one plant receives water. The result is imbalance, nutritional deficiencies, and a loss of metabolic flexibility, precisely what the body needs most to age with vitality and resilience. Nature never repeats itself, so our ancestors constantly rotated their foods: different beans, peas, chickpeas, lentils, seeds, and vegetables each season. This rotation keeps the gut strong, the immune system active, and enzymes constantly renewed. When you eat the same food every day, even nutrients stop being fully utilized. The body gets used to it and reduces absorption efficiency. It's a natural economy mechanism: if something arrives in excess, the body learns to filter it. Over time, what was once good no longer has any effect, and that's when fatigue and a lack of response to healthy foods begin to set in. Rotating doesn't complicate your diet, it frees it. Simply alternate the types of legumes: lentils one day, black beans the next, then peas or chickpeas. Each provides unique combinations of amino acids and minerals, complementing each other like pieces of a biological puzzle. Furthermore, this variation helps keep the gut clean and reduces silent inflammation. For seniors, this practice is a godsend. It gives the body a natural rest while simultaneously training it to react better to everything it eats, strengthening metabolic resilience. And here comes a gesture that makes all the difference. If you know someone who eats the same things every day, believing they're doing it right, share this video with them. Sometimes, a simple click can break a cycle and change an entire routine. The right information, when it arrives at the right time, can literally save a person's health, preventing serious problems. But there's something even deeper behind this error. It's not just physical repetition, but mental. Many of us fall into the trap of believing there's a miracle food, a magic formula for eternal youth and immunity. It's a comfortable but dangerous belief, because it makes us forget that true balance lies within the whole. And it's from this emotional and biological trap that the next error speaks: the mental error, the most subtle and the most difficult to recognize because it comes disguised as care. The eighth error is mental, and stems from a deep-seated belief that there's a miracle food capable of solving all health problems. This idea has spread rapidly in recent decades, fueled by headlines, fads, and easy promises. Lentils, turmeric, avocado, chia, salmon, they've all been labeled as natural cures. But believing that a single food has absolute power ignores the complexity of the human body. No food, no matter how good, can replace harmony between all systems. The body doesn't thrive on isolated heroes, it thrives in symphony. And when we place all our hope in a single ingredient, we begin to neglect the whole, creating invisible imbalances. This blind belief comes at a cost. Many people begin to overdo what they consider good, and excess inevitably becomes the new villain. Lentils every day, excessive supplements, relentless diets all stem from the same mistake: the fear of losing control over one's health. And fear is a terrible advisor. It makes us follow formulas without listening to our bodies, repeat habits without question, and reject clear signs of imbalance. This is how good food becomes a source of stress. Because the body is nourished not only by nutrients, but also by rhythm, pleasure, and mindfulness that transform eating into an act of healing. Food is more than biology, it's a conversation between mind and body. When you eat with the belief in healing, but feel guilt, anxiety, or doubt, the body responds to these emotions as if they were toxins. The intestine contracts, the nervous system goes on alert, and digestion worsens. However, when the act of eating is guided by calm and trust, the same foods function better, are absorbed efficiently, and sustain energy for longer. Therefore, the mind is as decisive as the plate. It's possible to transform the same food into medicine or poison, depending on the mental state in which we consume it, demonstrating the power of the mind-body connection. Learning to listen to your body is the first step to breaking this cycle of beliefs. It speaks through subtle signals: tiredness after meals, bloating, drowsiness, irritation, mental clarity. All of this is information. But in the rush, most people ignore or try to silence the symptoms with more rules and dietary fads. The secret is to reconnect with your natural instinct, the same one that guided our grandparents, who knew when a food was good or bad without needing tables or apps, simply by listening to the body's inner wisdom. And it's precisely at this point that many people go wrong. They treat their body like a machine, when in fact it's an organism in constant adaptation. The real danger isn't eating the wrong foods, but insisting on not noticing when the body is asking for a break. And this is the next error, the physiological one, the one that teaches us that the body whispers before it screams, and those who learn to listen to these whispers live longer and better, with preserved vitality. The ninth error is physiological, and occurs when we ignore what our body is trying to tell us. Each organism has its own language, and it speaks through sensations. Lentils, for example, are perfect for some people and heavy for others. An elderly person's body, more sensitive and with a different metabolism, can react in subtle ways: bloating after lunch, nighttime gas, irregular sleep, small skin changes, or even joint pain. These are signs, not coincidences. But accustomed to associating discomfort with age, many ignore the warning. The truth is, the body rarely makes mistakes. It always tries to warn us when something isn't working. And this mistake, not listening, is what most compromises vitality over time, creating accumulated damage. Ignoring these signals is like turning off a fire alarm just because the sound is annoying. The body strives to maintain balance, but if it's not listened to, it loses its ability to adjust. And the result is a sequence of subtle symptoms that turn into bigger problems: nutritional deficiencies, toxin buildup, constant fatigue. The key is observation. Keeping a short food diary can reveal a lot. Simply write down what you eat and how you feel in the hours that follow. Within a few days, patterns begin to emerge. It's science applied in a simple way, a direct conversation between you and your body that generates immediate clarity. Another important point is meal timing. Eating lentils at night, for example, can be heavy for those with slow digestion. Ideally, save them for lunch, when the metabolism is more active and digestive enzyme production is higher. Temperature and emotional state also play a role. Eating calmly, sitting down, and taking a deep breath before the first bite improves digestion more than many medications. This isn't mysticism, it's pure physiology. The parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode, is only activated when the body feels safe and calm, creating an ideal environment for absorption. When this awareness becomes part of your routine, everything changes. Your body responds better, your bowels function in a rhythmic manner, and your sleep becomes restful. It's a way to align your body and mind with your own biology. The mistake is to seek external solutions when the best diagnosis lies in your internal sensations, in the messages your body constantly sends, which we need to learn to decipher with patience. And there's something even more important: many people make one last mistake, the most serious of all, just when they think they've understood everything about healthy eating. It's the error of imbalance, the one that turns knowledge into rigidity and prevention into obsession. It's not about what you eat, but about how you experience what you eat. And that's what the next and penultimate point reveals, the delicate line between caution and overdoing it that many people cross without realizing it. The 10th mistake is imbalance, and it's the most dangerous precisely because it stems from good intentions. When someone discovers the power of food, it's natural to want to do everything right, weigh portions, control calories, and follow strict rules. But the body wasn't made to live on spreadsheets, but in harmony. The obsession with getting it right can generate the same stress as careless eating. It's the paradox of health: the more you try to control, the further you get from balance. Lentils every day, unnecessary supplements, fear of eating something different, little by little, pleasure and intuition disappear, and the act of eating becomes a cold duty, devoid of inner listening. This is the point at which healthy eating loses its meaning, because it stops nourishing the soul while trying to nourish only the body. Balance begins when you understand that there are no absolute villains or eternal heroes. There are contexts. The body needs rest, variation, pauses, and pleasure. A bowl of lentils can be perfect on a cold day and heavy on a hot one. The same food that strengthens one organism can inflame another. It's listening that determines the dose. Eating a balanced diet is like breathing. You need to inhale and exhale, action and pause. The body needs this rhythm. When it doesn't find it, it becomes ill. Therefore, moderation is the true wisdom of longevity, allowing body and mind to work together. Another point is that balance isn't just on the plate, but in the way we live. Getting enough sleep, exercising daily, maintaining emotional connections, and getting sun exposure are invisible nutrients that enhance the effects of any food. A perfect diet doesn't compensate for an exhausted mind. And this is the trap many fall into. They pay attention to what goes into their mouths but forget what goes into their minds. Constant worry generates cortisol, a stress hormone, which sabotages the immune system and metabolism. The result? Even eating right, the body ages faster, demonstrating that health is much more than nutrition alone. Therefore, the final rule is not to prohibit, but to balance. Eating lentils 2 or 3 times a week, prepared carefully, combined with vegetables, olive oil, and citrus fruits, is enough to reap the benefits without overloading. The key is to vary, breathe, and allow the body to reorganize itself. True longevity is not born of rigidity, but of flexibility that respects the natural rhythm of life. And it is precisely this idea that leads to closure, understanding that lentils, like any food, are just one piece of the health puzzle. When placed in the right place, they function as a perfect cog. But when they become the center of everything, they destabilize the system. Ultimately, wisdom lies not in seeking the ideal food, but in cultivating the right perspective, one that sees health as a living, integrated whole. It is this vision that transforms information into power and habit into healing, allowing each day to be lived with full vitality. Lentils aren't the enemy is ignorance. After understanding all these mistakes, it becomes clear that the problem wasn't the food itself, but how we treat it. When prepared correctly, stored carefully, and consumed in moderation, lentils become one of the richest plant sources for healthy aging. They're packed with iron, zinc, fiber, and compounds that regulate blood sugar and keep the intestines active. The secret lies in respecting the body's natural cycle and the nutrients we provide. And that's why information is true power. It frees you from fear and gives you back control over your health. Today you discovered that improper preparation can cause inflammation, that inappropriate combinations affect metabolism, that incorrect storage robs you of nutrients, and that even the utensils you choose can contaminate your meal. You also learned that the gut is the center of immunity, that excessive routine wears you down, and that the mind influences the effects of food. All of this converges into a simple truth: health isn't found in extremes, but in balance. It's balance that keeps the body strong, the heart stable, and the mind clear, functioning in perfect harmony. When you understand what each meal represents, eating ceases to be an automatic act and becomes a conscious one. It is at this point that food becomes what it always was, a form of dialogue with the body. Lentils are not the villains of this story, they simply require preparation, pause, and purpose. And this care is the same as your body expects from you: presence, attention, and respect for its natural rhythm, which demands delicacy and wisdom. The wisdom of longevity lies precisely in this, realizing that the body is an extraordinary machine, capable of regenerating, balancing, and protecting, as long as it receives the right stimuli. Eating well is a daily choice, and each right choice ignites a small flame of vitality. This flame is what keeps the energy alive, the mind clear, and the heart confident enough to continue living a quality life, enjoying each moment with fullness and joy. If this content helped you see lentils and your own diet in a new light, subscribe to the channel now. Here, every week, you'll learn how to strengthen your natural defenses with science translated into practice, without exaggeration or fads. Share this knowledge with someone you love, because taking care of your health is also an act of generosity. And remember, aging well isn't a matter of luck, it's a matter of awareness. The power lies in your daily choices. And the first step begins when you decide to learn instead of just believing, transforming information into consistent action. When it comes to health, knowledge is the most powerful form of prevention. And what you've done so far is exactly that: transform curiosity into practical wisdom. Now that you understand the 7 most common mistakes with lentils, you might realize that the true secret to longevity isn't in following rigid rules, but in cultivating awareness. Every small decision, the amount of time you soak lentils, the pan you choose, the way you chew, the calmness with which you eat is a silent investment in your vitality. Nothing in the body is isolated. Every cell responds to your choices with mathematical precision. And when these choices are made intentionally, the body responds with balance, energy, and mental clarity, demonstrating the power of conscious nutrition. Lentils, when prepared with care and respect for the body, become a powerful tool against inflammation, high cholesterol, and premature aging. But above all, they represent a symbol that simple can be extraordinary when well understood. The problem is never food, it's rush. The rush to copy diets, seek miracles, want results without a process. The human body doesn't function with shortcuts, it functions with consistency. And that's why longevity begins in everyday life, in the small, conscious gestures you repeat every day, creating a healthy and sustainable routine. Science has shown that the way we eat directly impacts the expression of our genes. This means that aging isn't a fixed destiny, but rather a continuous dialogue between what you do and what your body interprets. Eating consciously sends the body a message of safety and harmony. And the body, in response, activates repair mechanisms, reduces inflammation, and prolongs cellular life. There is no medication that can replace this natural intelligence that resides within each of us. So, from now on, look at lentils, and all foods, as allies, not magic solutions. Each meal is an opportunity to strengthen what already exists within you, a capable immune system, an alert mind, and a heart that still has much to live for. True youth is not the absence of wrinkles, but the presence of vitality that radiates from within, transforming each day into a celebration of life. If this video inspired you to take better care of yourself, listen to your body, and make conscious choices, subscribe to continue learning with us. Here, every week, you'll discover how to transform what you eat into living medicine, science applied to your routine, with simple language and real power. Because aging well isn't about defending yourself against time, it's about learning to walk alongside it, in harmony, with ease, and with purpose, transforming years into wisdom and vitality into a legacy.